Hi everybody, it's me, Rabia, and I'm here with Sarinda. We're just going to continue our conversation that we started talking earlier about dating, the higher up you go in corporate America or in academia. So we were having a great lively discussion. If you wanted to catch that, be sure to look at that previous discussion as it leads into this one. Again, if you like the discussions that we're having, be sure to like my page at itsmerabiah on Facebook, or go to my website itsmerabiah.com. That's Rabia, R-A-B as in boy, I-A-H. So what I wanted to continue talking with you about, Trenda, is I know you're in academia. Is it hard to find quality men to date? Do you have less access or the same that you did before, or is it harder?
Compared to being in college?
Yes, exactly.
So definitely yes, because I think there's just a greater diversity when you're in college. So much of your professional life can take over so much of your time that the people around you become your dating pool. Yeah. And if you have a rule about not getting involved with people in your professional circle,
that eliminates everyone.
Right. So I'm the only lame one, I think, in my circle of friends who has that rule.
Okay.
And I'm still single. So, because I just never want, if something goes wrong, I just don't want that awkwardness and the world becomes much smaller when you get further and further into your career, into whatever your field is, whether it's a certain kind of medicine, a certain kind of law, a certain kind of academic field. The deeper you go, the more that circle gets smaller. But those are the people you spend so much of your time with.
Yeah.
So I would say I'm at a place of reconsidering that rule. But I just think it's a risk. It's a risk, though, to get involved with those who are in your professional circle.
Okay. Well, online dating must be like a lifeline if you do have that kind. If you do want to keep that kind of boundary between personal and who you work with. And you said you do that. How does that work? How does that work for you?
I think it definitely keeps my eye open to people outside of my world, outside of that professional world. And I think it's a good thing because you end up only talking about, if you're a teacher, I remember all my friends were teachers. All we talked about was teaching, and so I think it's
charter schools.
So you just become very ingrown. So I like that I have a way to have dates with people totally outside that context. I think it's harder for them to understand your life, though, when you say, oh, I have an article due or a deadline and I'm writing or I'm at this conference, and they're like, what kind of, you're not just doing a 9 to 5, it's a very different kind of life. So it's harder to explain that world, but I think it's better to have someone outside of that to keep you less flat in your ability to connect with people.
I used to hear all the time, though, from professional women, especially maybe, attorneys or just higher up in the corporate world, or maybe managers or heads of department. Women just, we're just making it look like we're like that. We are just blowing down or barreling through a lot of the barriers and boundaries that's now in that world. But I always used to hear how it was hard to find a man that's comparable in, what he's making, and just his sophistication and how he dresses, just his thinking, to So, I always heard that complaint that it was hard to find a man that's comparable to a woman when she's getting that high up or becoming that bout in her life, becoming like a boss. So does the online dating address that now, or is that still an issue? Is it still a problem? It's still hard to find someone who's on your level?
Yes. I mean,
Which part? Yes to which part?
So, I hate the way that sounds, though. Someone on my level. If you mean income level, education
Definitely
level,
all of that. Yes. Just you may be more
if you're not
cosmopolitan
dating,
now. Like, I mean, just anything. You may have been like, yeah, I was, once on the east side. Now, like, I like. But now I like.
I have range.
I like to travel and, just contemplate.
Right. Well,
certain issues and discussions and politics and all that kind of stuff.
So, I mean, I've gotten more nuanced because, well, let's put it this way. My filter on the online dating thing, the wider you go, the more options you get. Okay. So if your income preference is like 10,000 compared to where you are, you might get less options.
Okay.
So it's a game of the filters.
I know. It's a game of the filters.
You can
online dating.
The more narrow your filters are, the less or more limited your options are. But you don't want to go too broad with your filter.
It's a balance.
But I've actually had to rethink. So income. I've met men who have a pretty good income in fields that require less education, and I always think about some of my family members. I have some of the best conversations with men who didn't necessarily go and get a master's degree or a PhD, but they got theories about the world. They can debate and talk and discuss, and I actually am more interested sometimes in those conversations.
Yeah.
And if you're in a field that can still generate pretty good, decent income, I'm okay when the income level matches, but the education may not.
Okay, yeah. That makes perfect sense.
The opposite is usually true. If they might have comparable education, but they're still sort of struggling to find work or pay down debt and all. Because I know what that struggle is like. You can have tons of loans and tons of debt and have a lot of education that could compromise your actual income.
And you may not even have a stable job.
And you may not have
with that education, the way the economy goes down.
Right. So I'm learning that the education thing is very much a market and a business, and people are making tons of money off of us getting a lot of degree, which is great, but it doesn't automatically mean that you're going to have income that matches the and I think it's harder to do things right when the income level isn't the same or comparable, despite the fact that you might have several degrees, so I'm less concerned about it. I'm more so on my level, someone who can travel and do different things, I think that is important.
And you're being exposed to enough of that?
Yes. I mean, my struggle is less around on my level and more on culturally, what are you looking for in terms of a woman? This idea that I have about having a partner, when I date outside of my race.
Say that louder.
I've met.
When you what?
When I have gone on dates with men outside of my race, it's probably easier to have those conversations about having an egalitarian, equal relationship. But
I have to. So what you said was, when you date a non-black man, it's easier.
And it's not like I've had long-term
to
relationships.
address the issues of equality and roles in your relationship. That's what I thought I heard you say.
I think there are more examples of that for white men. Because it's funny when black women
you mean
have
like for white men,
right? I think there's a double standard when black women are asking for equality and we get painted as like the angry black woman, or like there's something wrong when we ask for equal partnership. But I see white women have that all the time. Like I see the men carrying around the babies, doing the laundry and stuff like that. But they don't. White women don't get painted negatively for asking for some of those things. But I sometimes do find that when I'm asking for those things,
it's like, well,
but in my community, it's like, you done lost sight of your place, girl. Look at you. You want me to, do the, rearing children and carrying around,
You're emasculating the black man.
Right. I feel like there's more of a need to prove manhood for some of our men. So when I'm coming with this whole thing about being equal, it can feel like I'm challenging your manhood because the world challenges manhood for black men more. So that's more of a dilemma that I have, is that the world does knock them down more, so there's a need to prove and to feel like a man more. And here I am saying, I'm not challenging your manhood, I just don't want you to challenge my right to ask for help and to be equal. That's all I'm saying. I'm not trying to knock you down as a brother and say, you're below me. I'm not trying to do that. I'm just saying I need some help. Or I want help. I don't want to enter into a marriage where I'm doing work outside the home and I'm doing everything inside the home. That's a lot.
So I wonder how where that stands. Are more black women period open to dating outside of their race? Or are more black women who are higher up professionally, are they the ones more likely or more interested or more to do that as well?
So they might have more opportunities because professionally our world does become more integrated, you would say. I don't know what the data is on that.
It seems like we were less open to that even 10 to 15 years ago. Like,
I think there's been a change.
There's clearly a change has been on her horizon, and maybe that may have some males nervous, but I don't think for good reason. I think it helps all women, for women to open up their pool of who can make them happy and who can address their needs. And that way we're not necessarily all squabbling over, this same pool of guys.
Right. And I have to say, when I see black women date white men or men outside of their race, it's usually not coming from a stance of I only date white men.
Yeah.
And it's actually coming from a necessity if I ever want to have a partner, because I'm in
That's a good point.
A situation where my context is very white. So I happen to be in a state and a city where just the numbers do not lend themselves well for me if I'm only dating black men or wanting to date black men. Now, culturally, that's what I prefer. So that's my struggle. But women who, I think when black women decide to date outside, I don't see it as less of an issue with trying to preference or put black men down. Whereas I think for some of us, I have seen men date outside of their race as a principle, as like I'm aspiring to date white women, as though that's like an aspiration. I never had an aspiration to, like, my idea of success has never been, I got me a white man. That's never been my. I wasn't raised that way. But
you're open. So. You're open to it.
Now I'm open because of the reality of what's in my context, what's available.
I just heard a voice in my head of someone who's like, trying to put the destruction of the black family on our shoulders now. Like, I could just hear that blame being put on. If more black women do embrace that, there's going to be a backlash Well, we are, first of all, starting to embrace it, but I could see the backlash. Oh, well, now, that's going to tear down the black families. What's going to happen? We're going to have and I'm just like, that's not going to happen. Like, it's not going to happen. It's going to happen even less if black women do it, because she's going to transmit those cultural values to her black children, more so than if it's a white mother and a black father, because that's what women do. We transmit culture. And those children will more than likely see themselves as black children and still possibly date and marry other black, males or females. So either way, and if they don't, they don't. But either way, I don't think that threatens our communities. I think women getting what they need to raise children and to be happy and to be effective contributing members of society is what we need. And I don't believe in creating these states of emergency for ourselves, like constantly, like, oh, state of emergency.
Especially when it's used to force us to accept just anything.
Exactly.
I think my problem is that putting that on our shoulders, like the state of the black family, the black community is on your shoulders, black women. So when you date outside of your race, you're sort of contributing to that. Well, that's very noble to put all of that on our shoulders. But if that's being used to say you should accept anything or not have standards that contribute to your well-being, to be happy, is a problem. So I definitely, I love black love. I love to see black men, and I have to say, I have white friends who are married to black men, and they are culturally transmitting black culture, and I think they're not sort of like being anti-black in their family and in their context. So I've seen that, but I do love to see black families. I love to see black love, and that to me is a goal, and I think that's great. But it doesn't automatically mean that you're not helping the black community. When you're trying to find something that's healthy and respectful and honoring of your dignity, your well-being, your goals in life. Like, I am no longer allowing someone to use that argument to make me accept anything. And that's a problem.
I see that as being a resource for women, to just getting what we need. And that's what I want to see more. I just want to see ultimately healthier outcomes in relationships and women being supported without having to just bear everything by herself, doing it all by herself, and being alone if necessary. Like, no, a lot of people don't want to be alone. So I think we've placed that limitation on ourselves for long enough, and it's not something you should have to do, but it is something you should you don't have to have a barrier or a block to doing it, like a superficial one that's not really related to anything, but these ideas that, oh, this is what this is gonna do, it's gonna it's gonna hurt something.
Yeah, it's not going to hurt something.
It's not even proven to hurt,
And at the same time, you can't romanticize that white men are somehow going to be the answer. Like, I think that's as big of a myth.
Yeah.
Good point. As, oh my God, if you date a white man, you're destroying the black community. But white men aren't always the answer either, because I've had situations where it depends on the kind of white guy that you're dating, I think our country has socialized a lot of whites to have very poor deficit-based ideas about black people. And if there's some idea that you're somehow lifting me up or you're oh no thanks, I don't need that. So it depends on the kind of person outside of your race that you're dating. Yeah. But people outside of our race are not like the answer to everything. So, and I definitely don't want that to be an idea that's based on women of color.
The answer is not limiting yourself and finding the partner who is supportive and respectful of you, who truly just respects you.
Right.
And who's not going to get in the way of you making yourself happy.
Right.
So I think we're going to wrap that up, and it was truly a pleasure talking with you and listening to your perspectives, Tarinda, on being a professional woman and dating. And I learned a lot from you, and hopefully those watching have it's made them think about certain things or make them want to talk more in their groups about these issues. I appreciate you all for watching. Don't hesitate to follow me at itsmerabiah on Facebook, or at itsme_Rabia on Instagram, and also my website itsmerabiah.com. Thank you so much. Feel free to like and share if you happen to see this on Facebook, or to share it on Facebook just anyway. I appreciate all of you all just as much as I appreciate you, Tarinda, for being here with me today.